Oh boy. Rocco, are you reading the book without us? I am. I'm just too excited. I'm too excited. I just want to read the book. Rocco, we know you're super excited, but you have to wait for us. Oh, okay. I'm sorry I started without you. There's a kiss. I apologize. Okay, so Rocco, before we start chapter 2, it's always good to refresh our memory. Rocco, can you retell us what happened in chapter 1 so we're ready for chapter 2? Oh boy, can I? Well, Jack and Annie were worried that the treehouse was never going to show up again, but then it did. And they ran up and they found this cute little mouse, a cute little mouse, and they named him Peanut. And then Jack found a note on the floor, and the whole chapter ended by Jack saying he thought Morgan was in trouble. Oh, what's gonna happen? Can we start reading now, please, Miss Lavecchio? Okay, Rocco, why don't you go sit next to Sir Reads-a-Lot? Okay, woohoo! Okay, chapter 2, The Open Book. Jack showed Annie the piece of paper. It said, "Help me. Under a spell, find and thin." "Oh no," said Annie. "We have to help her. But what's a thin?" Maybe she was trying to write things, said Jack. "See how the N sort of runs off the page? Maybe the spell was starting to make her disappear or something." "Right," said Jack. "I wonder if she left any other clues." He glanced around the treehouse. "Look," Annie pointed at the book in the corner. "That's the only open book," she said. Jack looked around again. Annie was right. He felt a shiver go down his spine. Jack went over to the book and picked it up. He held it near the window. Light from the setting sun was golden on the page. Jack stared at the picture on it. In the picture were trees with white flowers. The trees were on the side of a mountain near a wide rushing stream. 2 people were also in the picture. They wore dark clothes. They had black scarves over their faces and long swords strapped to their backs. "Oh, man," whispered Jack. "Who are they?" asked Annie. "Ninjas, I think," said Jack. "Ninjas? Really?" said Annie. "Morgan must have left the book open to this page for a reason," said Jack. "Maybe that's where she was when the spell got her," Annie said. "Or maybe that's where the 4 things are," said Jack. "Let's go," said Annie. "Now?" said Jack. "Yes, Morgan's in trouble. She needs us now," said Annie. But we should read this book first," said Jack, "so we'll be prepared." "Forget it," said Annie. "Every minute counts." She grabbed the book from Jack. "Give it back," he said. "We have to find out about this place." Annie held the book out of reach. "We'll find out when we get there," she said. "We don't even know where there is," Jack said. But Annie pointed at the picture. "I wish we could go here," she said. The leaves of the oak tree began to shake. "Squeak!" "Don't be scared, Peanut," said Annie. She scooped up the mouse. Then she put it in the pouch of her sweatshirt. The wind began to blow. It blew harder and harder. The treehouse started to spin faster and faster. Jack squeezed his eyes shut. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. Except for the sound of rushing water. Ooh, that's the end of chapter 2. We're going to read chapter 3, but first, let's make a prediction. Remember, a prediction is an educated guess. Think about what we know is going on in the book. And what do you think is going to happen in the next chapter? Know what we can do? We can even take a sneak peek at the title of the chapter. Oh, it looks like the next chapter is Ehi, or maybe it's Ehai. We'll have to figure out how to say that in the next chapter. Go ahead and make a prediction. What is going to happen in chapter 3? Chapter 3, Ehi. Jack opened his eyes. Annie was already looking out the window. The mouse peeked out of her pouch. Jack looked out the window too. The air was fresh and cool. The treehouse was in a tree with white flowers. The tree was in a grove of trees on the side of a mountain. Nearby, a wild stream rushed downhill. 2 ninjas were standing on rocks near the water. They were staring at the valley below. One ninja was tall. The other was short. They wore black pants and shirts. They had black scarves around their heads and swords strapped to their backs. It was exactly like the picture in the book. Jack crouched below the window. "Be careful," he whispered. "Don't let them see you." "Why not?" Annie whispered back. "They might think we're some kind of enemy," said Jack quietly. Annie crouched beside him. Jack pushed his glasses into place. Now he was going to look at the ninja book. He picked up the book. He turned to the beginning. He read, "Very little is known about the shadowy warriors called ninjas. Historians believe that ninjas lived in Japan between the 14th and 17th century. Both men and women were ninjas. Sometimes they fought to protect their families. Sometimes warlords hired them to be spies." "Wow," said Jack. "We're in Japan, hundreds of years ago." Jack opened his backpack. He pulled out his notebook and pencil. He liked to take notes. He wrote, "Ninjas were warriors in old Japan." "Jack," whispered Annie, "they're looking up. I think they know we're here." Jack peeked over the windowsill. His eyes met the dark eyes of the tall ninja. "Ahee!" cried the ninja cried. He dashed towards the tree. The other ninja followed. "Oh no," said Annie. "We've got to go," said Jack. "Where's the Pennsylvania book?" He and Annie looked around wildly. But where was the book about Pennsylvania? It had the picture of Frog Creek Woods in it. Jack and Annie couldn't get home without it. "It's not anywhere," cried Annie. "Oh, we've got to do something fast," said Jack. "Pull up the ladder." He and Annie grabbed the top of the rope ladder. They pulled the ladder into the treehouse. But the ninja leaped at the tree trunk. Then he started climbing up the tree. The short ninja followed. They climbed just like cats. Jack and Annie huddled in a corner. The ninjas climbed into the treehouse. Neither one made a sound. Oh. And this is the end of chapter 3. This concludes our reading for today. So now that we've read chapter 1, 2, and 3, do something. What can you do? You can draw a picture of what's happened in the first 3 chapters. You could do a comic strip of what happened in the first 3 chapters. You could act it out. Or you could retell someone at home what happened in these first chapters of the Magic Treehouse, Night of the Ninja.